Hello, Aries, and welcome to your monthly forecast. I said you'd be first for this next month, and you are. We're taking a look, of course, at the month of April. And let's check in on Apollo before we begin. He's taking a nap, so we'll let him be. Look at his little paw out there. Again, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. This is for the month of April, and as always, let's get started with channeled messages. The image that came through as I was meditating was an acorn. And then I did a little bit of research afterwards, which is something I normally do. And it was very interesting to learn that jays and also squirrels are really important in helping those seeds get dispersed. They're kind of heavy. Otherwise, they would all be towards the base. There wouldn't be enough room for them to grow. So they kind of rely on other animals. Teamwork makes the dream work here. So anytime we look at a seed, whether it's a bulb or a nut or any other sort of vessel for something to grow. It's Ace of Pentacles energy, basically. And the fact that people are needed to make this happen, it's kind of like 10 of Pentacles sort of energy, so teamwork. This is a month where you can get something done. You can accomplish a goal, maybe something that has been difficult, but really working with others is the key to success here. And what's interesting is the reason that the seeds grow is that oftentimes the squirrel or the birds will forget where they put them, where their cache was, and what happened. So I would love for you to think of something that you've been meaning to do, but maybe it's kind of fallen off the radar. This is a month to realize you might be sitting on something fantastic. It just requires a little bit of time, energy, and attention. Any ace in the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition is basically potential. And so it's being handed to you by an unseen hand, basically the hand of the universe. And it's just saying, are you ready? How much do you want to work for this? What are you going to do? So this is a month to answer that and say yes. And here's how I'm going to breathe life into this. This is how I'm going to take a step each and every day and make it happen, folks, okay? I'm going to keep an eye out for cards like the Ace of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles, any teamwork cards like 2 of Cups, 6 of Cups, and the World. Because all of these things can actually breathe life or bring that potential energy into fruition. Suffice it to say, I feel like this is a month where doors are opening, resources are starting to present themselves, and it just requires your time and attention. All right, let's shuffle the cards and see what's coming through. Take a moment, please. Close your eyes. Imagine that you're sitting in the desert. That's what I'm seeing here. And you're creating a circle in your mind's eye around your body. The sun is directly overhead. You're protected. You're connected. And in this space, let's bring in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. And let's begin. Ten of Cups, that works as a teamwork card as well. Fantastic. Wow, a major shift there in the outcome with 7 of Cups and Death. So something big is going on this month. Let's finish getting all the cards and we'll see what that is and how it's shaken down. Alrighty, let's get started here with your catalyst card. We have the forest coming through. And the first thing that I'm thinking of here is you can't see the forest for the trees. And it's really important when you're in the thick of things to step back and get clarity. And it's interesting because that, interesting moment comes from the Seven of Cups, which is a card of exploring things, revealing things. And I think to get to that point of being able to reveal it, you have to take a step back. This, of course, is beautifully connected to our channeled message of the acorn. So that little zygote, that little idea, that seed, has the potential to be very fruitful here, as we see with the forest. It could bring about a lot of change, a lot of abundance, a lot of opportunity. But you have to take a step back and get some clarity. This is also a card of community. When we look at certain types of forests, particularly quaking aspens, it's almost like one organism. They're all connected. But in any given forest, I would argue that most of the trees, definitely when you look at some of the fungi and things like that, they are connected. The root systems communicate. So communication, teamwork, and really it's the word reliance comes in, but in the best possible way, but like leaning on and relying on that really great support system that many of you have worked hard to create or might be working hard to create. That's where the magic is. Teamwork makes the dream work, and together you're stronger. All right, folks, let's take a quick look at everything here on the table and see what the overarching message is. Revelation, first of all, something opening up in the third eye in your mind because we have this in the crowning position. Definitely moving from a place of wanting or lacking to a place of abundance, but it does require a shift of how you're looking at things. And we talked about the importance of perspective here. I love that we have a community card and we have some major changes coming forth. Let's take it one step at a time, starting off with that Five of Wands card smack dab in the center. Five of Wands is one of the most frustrating cards because I feel like we're all guaranteed to experience it at some point in our life. Often it's in the place that we go to work or school, sometimes even where you're living, where there's opportunity for people to work together better, but competition, sometimes short-sightedness, just seeing whatever your part of the bargain is, and that can be the other person too, impedes. And what happens instead is conflict. And so right off the bat, we're not going to take that path towards conflict, towards unnecessary competition. We're going to instead figure out what is our common goal or interest, because crossing this is a very lovely card, the Ten of Cups. Together we're stronger. And when you can find the commonality, when you can find the place where there's room for compromise, then progress can be made. But the initial challenge at the first part of the month is just this. It could almost be like two people butting heads where they think it's my way. I worked hard for this. And everybody wants to win, but it's not about that. It's actually about finding a way to do something more expediently, more efficiently, and with more of a common goal, without having to sort of be the first one. And I feel like that's the temptation here, is like if I just work hard enough, if I just get this all done, they'll notice me. But look at everybody else trying to do the same thing. Together, you're stronger. Interestingly enough, I haven't even gotten into wealth, but there may be a need. This is what happens in companies where people gather together so that they can fight for, better benefits and things like that, unions and stuff that kind of rise up to protect common interests. So together you can create a grassroots sort of effort that will help everyone. So in school, in work, in community, in the world in general, finding a way to unite. That's one really strong thing that's coming forth for you, Aries. You could be a leader in that effort. Okay, let's look at this as a more traditional card here. The Ten of Cups, of course, is love. Yes, it's community. Yes, it's happiness. And many of you have worked hard to achieve that, or you're on the precipice of doing that. Here's a very interesting sort of contrast between these two cards. This represents a lot of work. This is a lot of fun. In relationships, there's always going to be a work component, but at the end of the day, there should be enough joy, love, passion, fun to make it worth the effort. So yes, be willing to put in the work, but it should be fruitful on that as well. So this is a chance to kind of audit friendships, activities, and of course, the core relationships in your life and think, are you putting in the same amount of work that I am? And if not, what's this about, right? There are different times when we're not supposed to get a return on it. When you're a parent, you just give because there's a large part of a child's life where they need to just be supported. Maybe later, they'll give back. With pets, it's the same thing. You initially need to give a lot. And then when there's trust, you get a return on that. And if you're lucky like I am, it's well worth it. That's my best friend back there. So it takes time, though. That didn't happen immediately. He used to hide under the bed when I first got him because he was traumatized at the beginning of his life. So again, there are times where it's not equal, but eventually there should be a return. And this is about kind of like figuring out where you're at on that journey. And maybe making a little bit more time for this, love and friendship, and work is not going to be as central as it once was, okay? A lot of different ways that we could look at that because I'm doing a general reading. But generally, I love that the Ten of Cups is coming through because it's touching a lot of these cards, and I'll talk about it as we go through the Celtic Cross. All right, in the deep past, in a karmic position here, we have the Emperor. One of the big themes this month is going to be reclamation of power and standing up for yourself. It's so much easier to say that than sometimes to do it. And if there's something where you have this moment and you're hesitating and thinking, I really want to say this, or I don't know if this makes sense, I'd love for you to go with your gut instinct and just speak up. Say, I have a question, or I have a concern, or before we move forward, I need to know this. You don't have to apologize for it. Just say what's on your mind in a polite, but also in an assertive way. I think learning to trust yourself and use that moment is going to be affirming and magical for you. So that's one thing. The other thing here is many of you, I talked about that leadership moment in the Five of Wands. The next step up is Six of Wands, success and leadership. This is a moment where you're primed. You're primed to succeed. But again, it could just be an inner confidence sort of thing. So if there's something that you want or need to do or need to say, this is the time to do it. And you may be also kind of experiencing this desire to be an entrepreneur, to do something on your own. It makes sense. This is where the energy's at right now. But sometimes it's hard. And what we have here is someone that's holding back, protecting themselves. Four of Pentacles, recent past. So one of the things to avoid this month, and it may be coming through again, is a feeling of, well, this is safe and this is predictable. It's not enough, but at least it's something that I have. The devil, basically, Four of Pentacles, where you deserve so much more and you're capable of so much more this month. So don't sell yourself short. Don't accept less than you're worth. And don't hold back. Like I said, if you have an idea, speak up, because that's a great way to break through and bring in more energy, more resources, etc. You could also be holding on to stress this month in the heart space. The traditional card shows someone holding that main coin right over their heart. And so sometimes we hold it in. We're taught to just be quiet, keep it inside. And this month, find an outlet to let it out. It doesn't have to be in public, talking to people. This can be an artistic or creative outlet. It could be talking to a therapist or a trusted friend. But holding on to something, it isn't helping you. It's an anchor. And you're capable of so much this month. We want to release that anchor, okay? As we take a look at your crowning card here, we have the Two of Swords. This is actually an awakening. Sometimes when we have a blindfolded card like the Two or the Eight of Swords, it's about going beyond what's on the surface or around you and saying, who am I? What do I stand for? What do I want or what do I need? And also it's about paying attention to some of the potential red flags. Maybe you're putting in more effort than someone else. Maybe someone's always trying to compete with you. Maybe you're not getting back, again, the energetic investment here, or you're holding on to something longer than you need to. There's a voice that wants to come through. The vision, the next step is based on something that you feel, not necessarily what you see. Trust your instincts. And if you don't know what's going on, ask. The Two of Swords is curious in the best possible ways. You could ask someone to explain the origin or the urgency of a situation, And this will allow you to be a better advocate. And that's actually how I would frame it. Say, so that I can help you best, I do need to understand how we got here, why we need to do it right now, what you expect from me. Just to kind of tease the next card, the reason I'm so kind of adamant about that is we have Temperance here. Normally this is patience, one step at a time. When it's reversed, it can show the tendency to rush. So whether you're trying to rush or someone else is trying to rush you, you want to take that step back, see the forest for the trees, and make sure that you're not missing something. Now, moving it in a different light, if something is going on this month, the Two of Swords is really imploring you to take action on it. If we ignore something at the beginning, invariably it comes back later and it's more difficult down the road. But if you take care of it right now, when it's just a small little thing, then you've avoided a headache, an unnecessary headache. So be proactive, whether it's you hear something in your car and you take it to the mechanic, or you feel something in your body and you go to the doctor, whatever it is, so much better to just do it earlier than wait for something to kind of fester or boil up, okay? And then this is also encouraging imagination and intuition. Sometimes the solution isn't here in front of you. It might be something that you, create. And that is a very powerful thing, but it takes time and patience and, again, trusting your inner voice and inner vision. We talked a little bit about this, Temperance. Don't rush. You're exactly where you need to be. Interestingly enough, I usually tie Temperance to spring or April in the Northern Hemisphere. So this is almost like the perfect card to come forth. I'll pull the traditional card. Actually, we see it here. So there's a path behind the angel. She's not rushing to the path. In fact, she's got those two chalices or vessels. And so what she needs to do first is feel where she's at, make sure that everything's balanced in her life, her time, her energy, her resources, her health. Then and only then is she ready to take that step towards the path. Let's take a look at how you're showing up this month. We have the beautiful Queen of Cups. She's also by two water cards, basically. Temperance has a lot of water in it. The Moon has a lot of water, and she, of course, Queen of Water. So emotions are running high. You can leverage them for creative endeavors. We have 10 of Cups at the center. Some of you might just be focusing more on your personal life, on your friends, on just finding that community, even if it isn't there right now. And this card is aligned with all of that. It is also highly intuitive. So this is why you want to trust your heart, trust your instincts this month. That's why even the crowning card is saying go inward. What you're looking for isn't necessarily just in front of you. It's within. So you might be finding love this month or enriching an existing relationship. When we go a little bit deeper into those relationship cards in the expanded forecast, I'll take a look at it. But I do love that this is in the upright position, and it's basically saying she knows who she is, she knows what she wants, and because of the Emperor card here, it's just a matter of, are you ready to state that? Sometimes we keep those desires or those intentions within, and I really feel like in order to kind of get to this opportunity card, we have to express it. All right, let's see what's going on in the environment. This is one of the first tricky cards aside from that Five of Wands here. We have the Moon. When in the environment, it takes on a slightly different demeanor. It can be someone that is not completely sharing all aspects of who they are. There could be something that is even hidden in a contract. There could be someone that's trying to get away with something. The fact that it's reversed means that you're going to see through it, though. So you want to lead with integrity. And if you see someone that's lacking it, it's time to cut cords. It's time to call it out. There's too many good things happening this month, so you don't want to get pulled off that sort of path that we see behind the Temperance Angel into someone else's drama. And so be strong, especially if you feel like they might be doing something that isn't legal, isn't right, just doesn't vibe with your energy. Really listen to that instinct. It's going to save you a lot of time in the long run, okay? Because as we look at hopes, fears, and opportunities, we have the Wheel of Fortune. It's reversed. That means, though, in this moment, you can change your luck. I'm basically acknowledging some of you might be frustrated a little bit with where you're at now, but the wheel keeps turning and it keeps spinning. It can be a seasonal sort of card, so sometimes it means about 3 months from now, you could be in a completely different space. if you do the work, if you show up, because our initial message was about something that requires time and energy. So we're getting maybe a 2 or 3 month investment into that, and then things start to blossom. It's interesting because this Wheel of Fortune takes on two different energies when I'm looking at it. It almost feels like the Death card, which we have at the end, Death and Rebirth. It also feels like fate. So there's something that you've, perhaps on a soul level, created for yourself. It's fated to work. It's just a matter of stepping into it and saying, this is the moment that I take this mantle and go for it. So there could be some internal resistance. Can I, should I, will I? The minute you say I do, kind of like in marriage, the contract starts to spin and things start to open up. So I'd love for you to commit to your dream, your goal, your aspiration. You can also commit to saying, I'm done with this cycle, universe. Thank you for teaching me about this through pain, loss, or challenge. I don't require that anymore. I'm ready now to have love and abundance as teachers in my life. You don't have to have the same old, okay? So what we see here is releasing an old way and allowing wealth, abundance, and opportunity to come forth. And really feeling that sense that you are indeed worthy. So that is how I'm reading that Wheel of Fortune. If you've been feeling this, the potential for this is coming through, but it does require getting a handle on things, letting go of something that isn't good enough, and committing to building and showing up and creating something better. Now we have two very powerful cards, so much so that I commented, and I usually wait to comment before we have all the cards spread out. But anyway, the Seven of Cups here in reverse. In the upright position, this is about exploring all the options on the table. It's very decisive when reversed. It's saying, let's narrow it down. I've done enough research. Let's narrow it down. And it was very clear here. You're choosing the path of change, not the same old, not something that hasn't allowed you to grow. Instead, you're focusing on perhaps the road less traveled, perhaps something that is new, maybe even a little uncomfortable for you, but it might be exactly what you need. And again, not accidental here that we have two cards, that one that's called Death, one that shows me sort of like what you would expect to see around the angel of death. So transforming your finances and moving into something new and unexpected. You may be surprised that you want to do it. Others may be surprised, but if it's what you want, it's perfectly aligned in this moment. And however you start the month, you're exiting in a very different light. You found your voice. You found perhaps some new connections. You've surprised yourself. Patience has been a good thing. Creativity is running high. And you start to see the wheels of change in motion. Let's expand this. Let's go a little bit deeper. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, starting off with the energy of health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. So the oracle card here reads Blessed Sight. This, of course, can be your intuition, but because we're looking at health, it can also be your vision. So definitely, if you're overdue for, an ophthalmologist visit or an optometrist visit, let's put that on the calendar. You may decide to go a little bit deeper into meditation this month. Cards like Temperance are definitely connected to that. Same thing with the Queen of Cups. Your intuition is leading you in the right direction, so develop that part of your sort of energy, and then also listen to your body. Even if it's not showing up on the surface, if you feel it, talk to a doctor about that, okay? Let's look at this now on a deeper level and see what else might be going on. We're going to focus on it from the perspective of health, and let's see what these cards are showing us. Work-life balance, with a real emphasis here on family, friends, and loved ones, and de-emphasis, less of a focus on the work component. Stress reduction, particularly when it comes to holding on to tension in your neck, your shoulders, and even just making sure that you're breathing enough, because you can even see it in the posture on this Four of Pentacles. The person's hunched over, and this part of the body and this part of the body is getting stressed out. So yoga, exercise, stretching, very good. Listening to any small thing and taking action on it before it gets bigger, as we have talked about. Patience. Temperance is about taking time and not going to extremes. If you're trying to, like whether you're looking at healing in the body or healing in the finances, it takes time. Don't put too much stress on yourself. One step at a time. The emotional piece is coming through a couple of times here. So again, if you want to work with a counselor, a therapist, or just again, amp up on the community stuff and spend more time with friends and family, that's coming through also. The moon in the reverse position in the environment, slightly different here. It's less about your body. It's more about who's around you. So the moon card, when it's coming to people and like environments, it's something that affects your temperament, and sometimes there's someone who isn't just being honest with you, and it kind of gets under your skin. So I think it's really important to look at the integrity of the relationships and people keeping their word. And if it's not there, you don't have the time and energy to let that, again, get under your skin. For some of you, there's been a wake-up call and there's a commitment. It's almost like the universe is saying, are you ready to commit to this path? You can avoid this outcome. Now, death reverse does not mean the same as death upright. There could be stagnation. There could be a close brush with something in your life that could be serious, but you do the research, you ask yourself the questions, and you say, all right, I don't want that. I'm going to take a different path. I'm going to make the changes. And this Wheel of Fortune, like I said, it's almost like destiny, but once you make the commitment, things start to improve, and I feel like you could absolutely start to see a massive improvement or recovery once you walk the walk and talk the talk, okay? Getting out into nature could be really, really great, by the way, going back to the Catalyst card. I love what I see here. Okay, let's move on. Let's take a look at wealth, your resources, your life purpose, and your career. This is such an interesting card because it aligns with the moon. So, self-interest. This is Seven of Swords energy. This is the moon energy. This is the devil energy. It's someone who's looking out for themselves and not for you. Be mindful of that. I feel like you're going to see it. It's a matter of not ignoring it. So if and when that pops up, take the initiative, say no, and lead by example, because you don't have time for this either. And it's a test. People are seeing how much they can get away with. In this particular illustration, we see one of the crows taking a meal from another one. And that's why the other one's kind of like crying out, saying, don't you dare. So speak up, stop it before it starts, or stop it before it goes further. That's really what the Two of Swords and the Moon card are about this month for you, okay? Let's break it down. We're going to go much deeper so we can see this in 5 major subcategories. We're going to start off with those of you that have a traditional job. Then we're going to look at the entrepreneurs that are watching. I love that we got 6 of Cups. That was one of the ones I was looking for. Now let's take a look at those of you that are job seeking. And then we're going to look at students. Interesting, students. And then retirees. Lots of upheaval, lots of reversals in this particular part of it. We'll take it one card at a time. Starting off with those that have a traditional job. So travel may be a major part of your story this month. You may be asked to travel. You might be transferring from one part of the country to another, or from one position to another, or one division to another. You're also at a point where you're being asked to let go and move on to something bigger. So things are moving. I mean, the Six of Swords is a very good card, but it is the tricky part of this is that what once worked can't be a part of this moment. It's about exploring and trying new things. I shouldn't say it can't be a part of it, but it can't define it. Let's put it that way. You're being asked to go beyond what you were and explore all of the potential, all of the possibilities. Let's look at existing challenges if you have a job in a traditional environment here. Like I said, there might be duplicative work. People are doing things that others are doing, or it's not worth it. It's just sort of arbitrary. There's an opportunity to be a leader. There's an opportunity to form a group and together get it done, so you don't have to go out there all on your lonesome. I think that traditionally there hasn't been enough time, energy, money, resources, etc. So again, working in the group can be good. You have an idea that may not be immediately obvious or understood. Think of other ways to communicate it or illustrate it, possibly, again, leaning on someone in the group that can help, whether it's through, a visual aid or prototype or something like that. Be patient with yourself. I do see finances moving in a better position. It does require asking for more if someone's ignoring or neglecting, because it could be a combination of both. Some of you are just ready for change. And you know what? The Six of Swords and the Death card tell a very interesting story. It's almost as if you're one or two steps ahead like a chess player, and you're thinking to yourself, I see myself here. I'm going to go for this. And if they don't meet me on the level, then I'm going to take the next steps to move beyond. So go ahead and be strategic. I would not do an ultimatum sort of thing. I would express interest, express concern, or ask for something. See if they give it to you. If they don't, that's your moment to kind of explore. And we'll be looking at that in a couple of moments here. One last thing before we move on to the next thing. Something isn't clear here. Something doesn't make sense. The Two of Swords and the Seven of Cups, it's confusing. So ask. Get the clarity that you need. And again, don't jump into something without that clarity, because someone might be trying to hide a problem or an issue, and you can avoid getting pulled into that. Let's move on to the entrepreneurs. Such a favorable card here. Six of Cups. Don't forget about the power of your customers, your peers, the community, word of mouth. You may have really good word of mouth and very favorable sort of, opinions, but let's bubble them up. Make sure that you're getting customers to rate things, to refer you to others. Leaning into a referral program could be very, very good too. Also, don't be afraid to bring in youthful or newer ideas. Hiring younger people could help here too, because the Six of Cups is making sure that you're connecting with the youth, okay? And so if you're an established brand, maybe it's time to refresh things a little bit when it comes to social media approach, overall branding, and also like who's helping you get the word out, all right? Generally speaking, Six of Cups is great. Don't forget about the people who have helped you every step of the way. Customer appreciation could go a long way. You might be missing something. That's why getting an outside perspective could be good. This card is definitely connected to companies that have been established for a while. Or if you're feeling a little bit lost, let's say you are newer to the game, this is about leaning on the expertise of someone that can help out. Outside perspective, no matter how you look at this. What else? Be fun, be creative. This is a playful energy, the Queen of Cups. We don't want it to be so serious. Being able to show that you are in touch with how people feel. I think that's the main thing. We have touchy-feely cards here. Making sure that emotions are a part of the message will be very good. You could tap into a market that no one else is. So make sure that you're paying attention to marginalized or underappreciated voices. This could help you establish yourself as a changer, a disruptor, someone that's out there making positive shifts. We can't ignore the bottom line as much as we'd like to. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse and the Four of Pentacles are showing that there could be some things that just aren't performing as far as products. And so it's important to make sure, even if there's something where you're like, well, I love it, but if it's not where it needs to be, either the marketing needs to be improved or it needs to be put to the side for a little bit so that you can make up for what it's not performing. And then change. New ideas. Change it up a little bit. The same old isn't working. I really do get this vibe of this is the month to take a calculated leap of faith. And again, be very mindful of this. Disclose anything where, it is about self-interest. And we see this in journalism all the time. You'll say, well, this is our parent company. If you're getting a kickback or something like that, just put it out there. Say, oh, yeah, clicking this link is actually going to help us. Please do that if you'd like to show support. That's a way to be transparent, and then people will be more than happy to do it. It's just about being honest, and then people trust you more too when they know what they're doing and why they're doing it. Okay, moving on to job seekers. I do see the frustration here. Four of Cups. So the good news is there's a blessing in disguise, and something is closer than you think, but it might involve talking to a friend, a family member, a colleague. and saying, hey, I'm stuck. Do you have any ideas? You could also talk to a career counselor who may point you in a direction where you're like, I don't know about that, but it might work. Trying the unconventional, trying something that you haven't before, including applying in either a job category or a geographical location that you hadn't considered, it could yield a faster result. And that's that floating ace that you see there. It's not just about the money. There does seem to be a big focus. I get it. When you're looking for work and ostensibly perhaps not employed at the time, that's the fixation. But one thing that the universe really does want you to look at is this. Pay attention to community and morale. If it's lacking at this new place, the next one that you're looking at, make sure that you're okay with that. Find a place with good word of mouth. And again, lean into your existing network for advice. It could take a little longer, like the Seven of Cups could be at least a week from the time that you're listening to this for something to break through, but this is about change. And for many of you, also, like if you might just be tired of doing a certain path or a certain career, this is encouraging you to look beyond that. So maybe even education or just changing up the way that you organize your resume so that you can be seen for all the skills that you have could open a door. Okay? All right. Let's move on to students. Speaking of change, this is one of the most significant change-making cards you can get. A Tower reversed is saying, I want to do something different. You might be changing your major. You could be transferring from one school to another, or you could be building a program that doesn't exist because you are going into this whole experience to disrupt it. And perhaps you're going to take a path that isn't expected. So you could be delaying school for a little bit so you can get an internship, or maybe you're going to, it doesn't exist out there, so you're going to do something that's self-taught. Whatever it is, the fact that it's a little bit left of center is exactly the indication that you're on the right path. Now, it's important before you take your next step into whatever it is to make sure that you have a safety net, that you have a plan B, and that you have done your research. That's the one thing that I'd like to put here because the Tower can be a little bit free-falling. So we want to make sure that there is some sort of logic, research, or a method to this sort of otherwise, unusual approach. And as long as that exists, I feel like you're in a really exciting trajectory. So I see a really interesting parallel between Four of Pentacles and Wheel of Fortune. For some of you, you might be able to find a job that helps pay for school and training. You might be able to split the education between a less expensive institution and a more expensive one. You might be taking two programs from two different places and saying, I'll go here for a couple of years, then I'll transfer to this one because they have a different expertise. I see something of that nature where you have to get a little bit creative when it comes to finances, time, or again, two different schools. It's maybe not just a straight and narrow path. You're going to do a zigzag a little bit. And if it makes sense to you and it makes sense financially, absolutely. Speaking of the finances, there might be some options out there that require a little bit of research, but it's worth it. So, look into what exists for you. There might be something that is worth the time and the energy. This is interesting. I'm actually getting procrastination when I see the Death card in reverse, and it's all of the different options in front of us that can sometimes feel like I don't know what to do, and then you stagnate, and then a door or a window closes. If you feel like, I think I might want this, but I'm not sure, put in that application or go after it so that you don't miss the window, and you'll be happy that you did that, okay? Otherwise, it's pretty good, I have to say. Great energy here, but Death and Tower, whatever it is that you're doing, there's something that is breaking from the norm, and that could be a challenge because of expectation from family. So I love this card generally, but there could also be someone that wants you to follow in the family business or the family line of study. And you're like, but I'm an artist, or I want to do this or whatever. And so you've got to follow that. Okay. Now let's take a look at those of you that are retired. So it's hard to step into something unknown. Five of Cups requires an initial sort of release saying, okay, I kind of miss certain things about what I used to do and what I used to be, but now what else exists? What else could be? So we have two cups right behind this person. It's important to mourn what was, but then explore all that could be. And that's what this month is about, rebirth, because we can look at death reversed as a chance to reinvent and to be reborn. And that absolutely makes sense here. There is some fear, uncertainty, or questions surrounding finances for some of you, so definitely get a handle on that if you need to. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse in the possibility space shows me that it could just be a couple of small adjustments that you need, or just some information. Sometimes we're in a position where perhaps it was the partner that did, the decision making or the investments. And in this case, you'd want to find an expert to help you unravel all of that and understand it, particularly if the partner's not there. That's why I'm mentioning it like this, because we have the death card. So you could be in uncharted territory. You'll be all right. This is a good card, generally speaking, but this is confusion, and this is not kind of understanding it. So it's a new place to be. Don't do anything radically, and don't do anything quickly when you're in an immediate change, whether it's you just lost someone, you just retired. You should sit on that for 6 months to a year before you make a major decision. Go through the steps of grief and allow yourself to sort of be on solid ground. For everybody else, it feels like there's a focus right now on this, putting the work into creating relationships and new sort of networks in your life. It also feels like you may have a work opportunity that comes through. It can be a part-time thing, or it could be a mentorship thing, but it's coming through. And by the way, focusing on yourself is not a bad thing. By the time you're retired, because you spent a lot of your life helping everyone else, this is your moment to indulge a little bit. That's the one category where I'm like, it's okay. Don't feel bad for focusing on personal development, which you might be doing right now. Okay, let's move on to the next category, which is love. We have the crocodile that came through here. To me, the crocodile reminds me of 10 of Swords, or the King or Queen of Swords in reverse. It can be something said, and you're like, why didn't I just shut my mouth? Because the crocodile has a really big mouth, right? There might be someone in your life that also has a really big mouth, so we want to make sure that we don't let that get under our skin, and that we wait and think about what we're saying before we say it. And that's the main takeaway on the crocodile. Cool card. All right, let's go ahead and break this down into 3 categories and see what's going on in relationships. All right, we'll start off with those of you in a relationship. There it is, 10 of Swords. All right, let's take a look at, it is reversed, so it's avoidable. Then we'll look at those of you that are looking for love. Very nice card. And then those of you that are single and happy. All right, here we go. For those of you in a relationship, 10 of Swords in reverse. This is about seeing an argument a mile away. You know that sometimes it's not worth your time and energy to bring something up because the other party isn't ready. Test the waters. See if they're open. If they're not, it's not the right time to have that conversation. This could be you being on the heels of an argument. Your partner said something, it upsets you. You said something, they're angry. Maybe there's a little bit of both. We go back to the forest card. Can't see the forest for the trees. So it's really important to get a little bit of time, space, and distance. Again, testing the waters, seeing if the other person is open, and then have the conversation. Listening is really, really key. And sometimes when 10 of Swords comes through, it's just talking. So it may not be the right time for the reconciliation, for the apology. Wait until both parties have gotten to a more even space. Give it a day or two, is what I would say here. And also, one really great way to clear the air is just to say, I love you and I'm sorry and I'd like to talk about this. Like, just put it all out there. Start it off with that and see where it's at. But if the other person is immediately angry or expecting an apology or punishing you for not understanding it, it's still too soon, okay? Not everyone's fighting. This could also just be physical pain. This could also just be something going on in your life creating stress. In that situation, we don't want it to bleed over onto the partner. We want to be able to lean on them, but if we're agitated, we need to do what we need to do to make sure that that isn't unnecessarily sort of stressing out the partner. So that's the other thing here. And when it comes to health situations, again, there could be something going on that's causing pain, loss of a loved one, loss of a job, There could be something that pops up that requires, someone had a surgery or whatever, and so there's stress. I just see it as stress. We want to avoid agitated conversations. Always take it back to that sense of love and partnership. Listen. When in doubt, don't offer your 2 cents worth. Just say, I don't know how to solve this, but I can listen. How can I support you? Ask a question. Remember, we said curiosity is key here. Just show love because it's there. Now, taking it out of the 10 of Swords, we've talked about how to avoid it, why it might be here. What I love about present relationships is this: love. Although there may be an initial sense of like impatience, you can eventually get back to that patience. And investment. You've worked hard to create this. So just give each other some space this month. Be patient with one another. And know that change is a part of life. If something's changing in the relationship, that just means you're growing. Listen to your partner, hear them out before casting any judgment or assumptions. Okay? And it's amazing what the 2 words "I'm sorry" can do. All right. Also, "I love you," 3 words. Let's focus on those of you looking for love. Knight of Cups, perfectly connected to the Queen of Cups. Someone could be pursuing you. There could be also an age difference here with a Knight and a Queen. A slight age difference, but still, or just experience, gap. But it feels like it's manageable. Fight for what you want. The Knight goes after what they want. So this is a great time to meet someone. We're getting a lot of water energy. So there could be a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. The moon also indicating that. Here's the interesting thing. If you do meet someone this month, they could be divorced, or there could be someone who's lost someone. So give them space. If they're on a rebound, they may still be healing a little bit from that. So be patient with them. And it could just be unexpected. You might be looking for it, but where you find it, you're not expecting to meet someone there. So be open to different types of activities and invitations. It might be exactly what you need to meet that person. There's a lot of focus on health and wealth this month, so sort that out first before getting into a new relationship. You'll be glad that you did, because it feels like this could go further if you have all aspects of your life sorted out. All right, let's move on now to those of you that are single and happy. Now we have the beautiful Knight of Swords. Things are starting to pick up quickly. You can make so much progress this month. That's fantastic. Let's look at where you can make the progress. Improving or increasing your finances. Some of you are going to make a big change in your life, and there's a lot that's attached to that change. Good for you. Relationships, even though it's not about love, this could be networking professionally. This could be meeting new friends. You could meet other people that have the same sort of like hobby or interest. You're still potentially going to meet someone even if you're not looking. I see that it's a sort of magnetic and fast-moving time here. But you're moving towards clarity and change, and it's going to happen faster than you think. All right, let's take a look at destiny. We have share your bounties. So this is beautiful. This is multifaceted. We'll talk about this. Some of you may have this sort of philanthropic pull or desire, saying, I have more to give. Let me share that with the world. It doesn't have to be money. It could be time. It could be energy. It could be knowledge. Whatever it is, your story, your gift, your perspective is exactly what the world needs right now. But you may be holding back a little bit, so don't hold back. And that could be connected to this. It could bring a lot of abundance and opportunity your way, but it involves that sort of getting out of your comfort zone. Okay? Let's now shift the focus to one final question. This can be anything where you still need a little bit of advice or you need an answer. Let's give the cards a shuffle and see what Spirit has to say. I like what I see here. So to your final question, we have the Nine of Pentacles. As a yes or no, it's a yes. There's a couple of nuances with it. Yes, but it could take a little bit longer than you think, okay? Typically, there's a snail on this card. We don't see it here, but it just says slow and steady wins the race. We had the Temperance Angel coming through, encouraging patience, so this is reiterating that. Other nuances to the Nine of Pentacles. It is a card that represents independence, sustainability, and again, abundance. So we are moving from that Four of Pentacles that we saw in the past towards something richer. And this also shows us, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that things are moving in a better direction. but time and patience are key. Don't take a shortcut. That's the big takeaway here, okay? And you can do this. You have everything that it takes. Even though this isn't a major card, like a major arcana card, and even though it isn't a court card, it's very nicely connected to the Emperor. This individual in this card can take care of herself, and she's shown that she can make it work in the long run. All right, Aries, that brings this reading to a close. If you're brand new here, do me a favor, subscribe so you don't miss out on anything new. Existing viewers and everyone really, hit the thumbs up once and then leave a comment. Let me know what resonated. I read everything, and it also helps other people discover this channel. Also, you can follow me on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all the major platforms. You can go to my website if you ever need the official links. Keep an eye out for any imposters. I don't offer private readings, by the way, and I don't use direct messages, so that's a good way to spot the real from the fake. If you'd like to show support, you can do it right here on YouTube through super stickers, super likes or chats, becoming a member. All of this helps. It allows me to do things like my podcast, which are self-funded. So thank you in advance. I couldn't do it without you. And before we wrap up, let's look at Apollo. Let's give him a little pat on the head, and then we'll say goodbye for today. Hey, buddy. Who's a good boy? Yes. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for just being amazing. You're the best part of what I do here on YouTube. I hope that this resonated. If so, check out my daily, weekly, and monthly videos, all on the main channel page. Until next time, take care, everyone.